Hello and welcome to Coding Demos. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use the Android Attent to share content with other apps and how to use the Attent to open a URL from within the app. And it's all together with a recycler view. So I have the tutorial here fully written. So if you prefer to read the tutorial, go ahead and check out the link in the description. And you can also find the source code for this project. So let's get started. Open up Android Studio, and then the first thing that you need to do is you need to add the support library for the recycler view and the card view. So to do that, you open up the Gradle script from this arrow, click on that, and then choose the build.gradle module app. Double click, and you got this file here. The libraries that we need to add are these two. So we have the recycler view and the card view. So the recycler view is basically the way to list the items on the screen. So previously we were using a list view, now we use a recycler view. And then we have the card view here. The card view is basically a card shape that surrounds each item inside the recycler view. So once you add these libraries, be sure to click on the Sync Now button. Let's say when I make any change here, so you see the sync now, so click on that and let it sync. Once it's fully complete, close this and then open up, let's close it as well. So open up the resource and then choose values and then open up styles.xml file, and here we need to change the theme from the dark action bar to no action bar. The reason we need to change that is because we need to use the Android toolbar. Okay, once you change this, you close the styles.xml file, and then you need to open up the colors.xml file, and here we need to change the colors of the main app. So these codes, you can actually find them in the tutorial. So once you paste those new colors inside the colors.xml file, close the file, and then you need to open up the drawable folder here, and here we need to paste the pictures. So these pictures are the ones who will appear inside the items of the recycler view. So to paste those pictures inside the drawable folder, all you have to do is you click on resource, you choose drawable, and then once you copy those images, right, you right click on the drawable and then you choose paste option here. So once you do that, you will be able to paste the copied images inside the drawable folder. So once you got that all set up and ready, that's good. So next is we need to work on the layout. All right, so click on the layout folder here, and then the first thing we need to do is open up activity_main. So what we're going to do here is we need to add the toolbar and the recycler view. So the toolbar, okay, let me open up the preview window here to be able to see what I'm actually talking about. So we have the toolbar, let's position at the top here, and then we have the recycler view. So the recycler view, by default, you'll get this dummy data, and don't worry, you won't see this data once you run or build the app. You only see them within Android Studio. So you have the data here. Now for the recycler view, you have the ID, and then we have the layout width and height, and we have the scroll bars attributes. So I'll go through them one by one. So we have the layout width here, the same old stuff. Basically says that match pattern, so that the width of the recycler view will match or will take the width of the screen here, and then you choose the layout height as wrap content, so that each item inside the recycler view won't take the whole screen, which is gonna look really bad. That's why we're giving like a fixed, or sorry, enough space to accommodate the recycler view. And then we have the scroll bars. So the scroll bars is basically the bar that appears on the right here when you try to scroll through a long list of content. For example, if we go back to the website here, once I scroll, you'll see the scroll bar here. So this is the scroll bar that we're actually talking about. So if you head back to Android Studio, and then inside this Android scroll bars attribute, you can actually set the attribute either vertical or horizontal. So based on the way that you want to structure the recycle view, for example, if let's say you want to scroll through the content in a vertical orientation, so of course you will use a vertical here. Otherwise you choose horizontal, and if you don't want, for no reason, if for example you don't want the scroll bars to appear, then you can either set as none or you don't define that at all. So for this case we need to choose as vertical. So once we're done with this, go ahead and close this file, and then open up the Recyclerview underscore item here. So to do that, to create this file, all you have to do is right click on the layout folder and then choose new, and then select the layout resource file. So give it a name, choose the root layout or the root element, and then click on save. So I have this layout here. So this layout basically holds the items that will show up for every item inside the recycle view. It's like the custom layout that you usually create for the list view. That's the same thing applies for the recycler view. So we have the recycler view here. So as you can see, the first or the root element is the linear layout with vertical orientation, and then we have the card view. So the card view is the card that basically holds, surround the item of the recycler view. So each item inside the recycler view will be surrounded with a card view, with a card shape. So inside the card, we have the layout width as match parent, right? And then we have the height as wrap content, and then we have this attribute card use compact padding. So what is this attribute actually does? So let me show you. When you try to, let me just zoom a bit here to see the difference. Okay, so if I set this to false, you will see that the card view will not have any space between the edge of the screen and beneath the other item that will show up later in the recycle view. So what this compact padding actually does, it gives an extra space that surround the entire card view. So if you set this to true, let me undo the change and set this to true. You can see okay, let me just remove my mouse here. Okay, you can see there is a space that surround the recycler view from every edge, from the left, right, top, bottom. So we do that to look nicely so that the items don't get like close next to each other. That's why we use this attribute. So let me zoom out. Okay, the next thing is we have the relative layout. So the relative layout basically holds the image view, the text view, and two buttons. So the image view is the one that will basically hold the image of the recycler view. So we have the ID here, and then we have the attributes for the width and height, and then we have the align parent. This is to position the image view. So we're trying to position the image view to the left, and we need to set it or position at the top. And then we have the scale type. So the scale type basically to scale the image so that it's going to be center crop. So if let's say I remove this attribute, you will see the difference here. So if I remove this, you can see there's a white space from the left and right edge here. So if we use the scale type, let me just undo this. Okay, scale type, so we have the center crop, and you can see the image has been centered so that there is no space from the left and the right. There's no white space from the left and the right side. And then we have the Android source here, SRC, which basically links to an image inside the drawable folder. Alright, so we have here the text view. So the text view holds the text view is actually the name of the image, right? So by now it doesn't have any text. That's why you don't see anything on the screen here. But it's not actually invisible. It is actually visible. So we have the title, the ID. And then we have the width and height, and it's positioned below the image view, which is the IV places, or stands for image view place. And then we have a padding that surrounds the text view. And then we have a text size of 20 SP, and we have the text style as bold and italic. Alright, so next we have the two buttons here. So these two buttons, the first one is button share, in order to share the content with other apps. And then we have the button visit to allow you to read more about this image. So we have the button here, we have the ID, and now you might be wondering why we use this style. So by default, let me undo this. Remove this. Sorry, let me just remove this line. So by default, right, when you click on the palette here and you want to drag a button inside the layout, you will see the standard button like this. So when we add or we use this style, the style basically says it's borderless button style. That means we need to get rid of the board, basically to make it feel as if it's just a text view, but it's actually a button. So that's why it says borderless button style. So we use the same style for both buttons, the button share and the button visit. And then we have for the button share, it is actually aligned to the left. That's why we use the parent left start, parent left and parent left start. And then it is positioned below the title, which is TV or text view place name. And we have a margin top, which is 10 dp, so that they don't get close to each other. And we have the text, which says share. The same thing for the button. We have the ID, the style, and it's placed below the image view, and it is aligned to the right of the button share, right? And then we have a space or margin left, margin start 10 dp, so that the buttons don't get close to next to each other. And then we have the text finally says visit. So we're done with this layout. The next thing is we need to create a Java class. Let me close this. We need to create a Java class called myAdapter. So this class basically is used to inflate the layout and handle all the stuff that is related to the recycler view. So to do that, you head over to the Java folder and then choose the package, and then just right click, new Java class, and then you give it a name and then click on save. So here we have the class that we need to create, which is called myAdapter.java. So double click on that. So you might be wondering why we have this. I'll explain this later. So we have the myAdapter.java. So we have the class name here, and it extends the Recyclerview.adapter, which between them we have the placeholder. So the adapter is basically the one that manages the items inside the recycler view. It's the one that handles the initialization for the views, the layout that holds the views, and then any type of data that you might want to pass from the main activity to the myAdapter. So here we're defining the context and 3 arrays, one of a type integer and 2 of a type string. So the integer array here, images, is the one that will hold the images for the recycler view, and then we have the place names, and then we have the place guides. So there is a reason why we need to do this, so that we can actually use them later from the main activity class. So we define them here first, and then we're defining a constructor that takes these values, and then once you extend the Recyclerview.adapter, you'll be asked to create a view holder So this view holder is actually a class beneath here. So class place view holder, which extends the recycler view holder. So once you create this, once you extend the adapter, you'll be asked to create the place view holder, and then you need to implement the 3 methods: the onCreate view holder, the onBind view holder, and the get item count. So the onCreate view holder is the part where you will inflate the layout, which is the one that we created for the item, which is Recyclerview underscore item underscore. So this is where you're going to inflate the layout. And then inside the onBind view holder, before you go to the onBind view holder, you need to go to the place view holder here. So in this view holder class is where we're going to define the views that we've created them earlier inside the Recyclerview underscore item underscore .xml file. So define those items here. So we have the image view, the text view, and these 2 share and visit buttons. So define them, and one thing is, once you create the class place view holder and extend the recycle view holder, you'll be asked to create a constructor. So this is the constructor. So please be cautioned here when you try to initialize, you will need to reference the view from the recycle view layout. You need to use the item view.findViewById. You can actually use the directly find view by ID because you get an error. So if, let's say, I remove this, so you can see there's an error. Cannot resolve a method find view by ID. So you need to use the item view here. Next, you need to head to the onBind view holder. So this onBind view holder is where you're going to initialize the views inside the layout file. So in order to access these views, right, you need to access them by using the holder here. So you do holder dot, and you get the place name, the place, the share, all the views that you created inside the place view holder. You'll get them right here, as long as you start with the variable of the place view holder here. So once you do that, you set the text passing the place names with the position. So because the place names are string array, so in order to a way to access the string array is by passing the position. So the position, we have it right here. So you take this position and you put it inside the string array here, and you do the same thing for the place set image resource. And when we need to set the drawable, so do the same thing, images, pass the position here. And then another thing is, when you're done with this, next we need to set the share button to make it clickable. So usually when you try to set something, you use the set on click listener, so you can click on that view. So the same thing for here, these are buttons. So you use the holder.share, which is the name of the button here, dot set on click listener. So inside this onClick method is where we're going to work with the intent that will allow us to share the content. So for this share, so the first thing we need to do is we need to define intent, and in this intent takes actually the action as send. So intent.action underscore send. You want to send something, so you use the intent. You use this intent, and then we want to allow the user to share something with that intent. We need to share like an extra content, right? Instead of just going to go to another app, instead we need to share something when the user clicks on this. So to do that, we're going to add the extra text inside the put extra method here. So the put extra method, first you pass in the intent.putExtra, intent.extra underscore text, and then comma, and then we have the text that you actually want to pass with the share, right? So here we're saying let's go for a trip to, and then I'm leaving a space here, and then I'm putting the place names, which is the array, the string array of the names, and then I'm passing here the position. Now, one thing you might be wondering why we're passing a different position. So in the beginning, we're using this position, all right? But when you're trying to use for example, you want to pass something or you want to access something from within an inner event, so you can actually use the position. Android Studio will complain about it, and sometimes when you use the position, when you click on the item, you might get the wrong position. So that's why Android Studio recommends you to use the holder dot get adapter position to get the exact position of the item. So that's what we're doing here. So we have the text, and then we're connecting it with the name of the place that you've actually clicked on, and then we have a new line here that says here is the link to the full review, and then we're connecting it with a URL from the place guide. So it's like, okay, let's go for a trip to, for example, this beach, and if you want to learn more about it, here's the link for the full review. Okay, something like that. I will be showing the output later on. And then we have the set type, which is the text, just plain text. So we're showing only text right here. So we're using the text / plain, and then to start the activity, we need to use the context. We can actually call this start activity like that. We need to use the context. So context.start activity, and here we need to use the attempt create chooser. So what this attempt create chooser is, right? So we have the share button here. So click on the share button, and then here we have the send to. So usually why you get like this number is because when you send something recently, so the recent content will show up right here. So you have the send to, that's what we're actually passing here. So attend the create chooser, and then you pass in the send to here. So the create chooser is basically telling, hey attend, I need you to can you give me the ability to choose the list of applications which are installed on my device. So this is an emulator, so these are the applications which support this type of action. That's how we get these apps here. And then in the create chooser, we pass another string, which is the title of you can say the dialog here. And then we have the send to as the title. Okay, so that's the part for the share attempt, and then we have the other one is for the visit button, and this is the button where you wanted to open up a URL within the app. So inside this on click listener, we have the attempt, but this attempt is a bit different. We have the action view. We need to view something. In the previous intent, that was action _ send. We need to send something. So here we need to view something, so we pass the action _ view. And then we need to set the data. So to set the data, we're passing a URI.parse. So what we're trying to parse here is the URL inside the place guide based on the position. So once you click on an item, for example, once you click on the visit, let me just open up the emulator. Let me just hide this. So when I click on visit, so here I'm clicking on the visit button, and then based on this item, it is URL. So I'm accessing this URL from the place guide by using the adapter position, and then you basically start the activity and you pass in the attempt. That's it for the visit attempt button. And then finally we have the get item count. So this get item count is returns the size of the items for the Recyclerview. So here we're passing the images.length. So to get the correct size of the items inside the images, we pass it here, images.length. So that's basically it for this adapter. The final part that we need to work on is the main activity. So click on the main activity here, and here is where we're going to define the toolbar and the Recyclerview, the the images array, the names array, and the URLs array. So inside the onCreate method here, we're setting the toolbar, and then we're setting the title. So we define the toolbar, and then we're setting the title of the app in order to appear on the toolbar. And then we have the recycler view, which is referencing the layout file of the activity underscore main. So click on that. This is the recycler view, this is the toolbar. And then we have the images. So these are the drawable files, which are linked right here. And then we have the place names, and here we're initializing them, initializing the array of place names. So each image has its name. And then we have the place guide, which holds the URLs for each image. So the first URL, the second URL, so we all have like 6 URLs. Finally, the linear layout manager. So this linear layout manager, we need to use that whenever we're trying to use the recycler view. So this both goes together actually. So this layout manager is we're trying to set the items to be shown in a vertical orientation. So that's why we're saying linear layout manager by passing the context, which is the main activity, which is the current file here, and then comma, and then we have the layout manager.vertical, which is we want the items to be aligned in a vertical orientation. And then the last one we have the false. So this false is actually the reverse layout. So the reverse layout is if you want to reverse the items inside the list. For example, let's say you want, instead of having this first image appear on the top, you can have the final image to appear on the top. Finally, we're setting the layout manager for the recycler view by passing the layout manager, and then we need to define actually the adapter that we've just created here. Now inside this adapter basically takes 3 arguments. So it takes the context, the main activity, which is the main activity, and we have the images, which is here. Then we have the place names, and we have the place guide. Now, like I said earlier today, why we're creating this constructor, so that we can actually pass the arrays that we've initialized them to this adapter. So we pass them through the constructor here. That's why we need to define it right here, and we need to pass these required arguments. So once you pass these required arguments, you finally set, and don't forget this line, because if you forget this line, then you won't be seeing anything inside the recycler view. So call the recycler view.setAdapter by passing the adapter right here. So this is basically it. So once you run the app, you'll be getting this following output. So we have the images, and we have the title, we have the share button and the visit button. So click on share, and then you choose the apps that you want to share with. So I have the messages here. So choose on the messages, and let's say you want to create a new message. Let's give it a number 100. I don't know, just a test number. And then you click on send. So you see, this is the message that we actually created. So from where we got this part is actually from my adapter here inside the onBind view holder. This is the message that we created. So if we open up the emulator again, so you can actually click on the link, and it goes to the TripAdvisor as a way to read more about this place before you actually visit it. And then you click back, and then let me just exit this and go back to the app. And then we have the visit. So you click on the visit, straight away goes to the TripAdvisor website without you needing to send a message and then click on the link. It's like a direct approach. And then you click on back, and you'll be directed back to the app here. So this is basically it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you like it, do give it a thumbs up, and if you have all questions, please post them in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, and happy coding.